Right, welcome to Real Opinions. Working title.
Working title.
Yeah,
please.
working title. We are going to run through our now top 10 of 2014. Now
We're counting, because some lists won't do this, but we're counting like the
Oscar
January,
movies
February
we watched.
films.
Basically,
Oscar
films that have had a UK release. In
Yeah,
some
so
way.
we're going by
UK
UK
film
release.
release.
Yeah, some of my ones have been festival movies as well.
Yeah, so you got some earlier.
Yeah. Right, so shall we begin?
Yeah.
With Jack, do you want to start actually?
Yeah,
Start
so
with
am
you.
I doing the whole 10 or
10 up until 6.
Yeah.
up to 6? Right, so number 10, I've got Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah.
9, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
8, 12 Years a Slave. 7, Grand Budapest Hotel. And 6, The Double.
That's it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
12 Years a Slave.
I forgot about Dallas
12
Buyers
Years
Club.
a Slave,
I forgot about that.
I really enjoyed it at the time, and I feel bad for putting it in just because I haven't seen it in quite a while.
Yeah.
But I do remember.
I felt very cold and
Yeah, I
different.
get why people like
Yeah,
it.
yeah, me
because
too.
it's-
Yeah.
I admire it, but I really don't like
And I
it.
thought
I
Michael Fassbender
prefer.
was great.
Mm.
I definitely prefer Shame to 12
Me
Years
too.
a Slave.
Me
That's
too.
the thing.
I
I
do too.
prefer it, but I just don't get Steve McQueen. I don't get his work. I find him annoying.
I haven't seen The Hunger.
and I haven't seen Hunger.
I think
either,
some of his work I find annoying. Like just going off Shame for instance, the 2-minute shot of her singing, which is kind of pointless. It's good in 12 Years a Slave when he does the long shot.
Well, they
he's
make
got that
sense
shot
because it's
of
about
him,
the sort of like
hanging from the tree.
yeah, and it's horrible and
yeah,
prolonged.
and
It's protracted.
it's
to make it-
prolonged.
Yeah,
Like that does really well in that scene.
yeah, that's true.
But,
I feel like I don't.
It
know.
felt less like it was to be arty and more because it was in service.
Yeah,
of
that
what it was
had a
showing.
purpose.
It
Yeah.
feels like a lot of his films specifically, he feels like in the same kind of breed as people like Michael Haneke. Like these directors that a lot of critics adore and I'm supposed to like,
Mm.
but I can't quite put my finger on why I don't like them. I just don't.
Well, for me, he works with Michael Fassbender a lot, and I really like Michael Fassbender.
yeah,
That helps.
He did.
I
Help.
did think Michael Fassbender was the best part of 12 Years a Slave. Not because I sympathise with him, which sounds like that's what you were going to say.
Gonna say that
Oh,
at all.
doesn't matter then. But just because he's very good. He's very
There's
good.
a lot of
Incredible
secrets.
actor. And it's worth putting out there that Chiwetel Ejiofor, I don't think he's ever really been in a lead performance before. He's always very much that guy in the
he's-
background,
yeah.
and he's really incredible in
Yeah.
12 Years a Slave.
Yeah, I don't think he was good enough to win the Best Actor.
No, he was worth the
Yeah,
nomination.
but he was
Yeah,
definitely worth the
exactly.
nomination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else do you have? I know your Dallas Buyers Club, then you have Grand Budapest.
And the Grand Budapest and Guardians, which
Guardians.
when we did the original talk before, it sounded like I didn't like it as much.
Yeah,
but
I
it's
got
just
that,
it's
yeah.
just it's my favourite fun film of the year.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just
There you
about
go.
covers most of my list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Harrison, what about
Me
you?
next? Okay. I'll do my honourable mentions later because I have to mention them. But at 10 I have Paddington, which I really
It's gone
did.
down
I
to
did.
10.
It's gone down to
It,
10.
it went
but
from 9 to 8 and now
10.
back to
I've,
10.
I've now fixed its place, but I'm surprised it was there in the first place.
Mhm.
9 I have Guardians. Then I have at 8 The Raid 2. Then The Wolf of Wall Street at 7, which I forgot about until we talked about Oscar films. And then at 6 I have Days of Future Past, which honestly was the one I thought was going to be number 1. So
You
There
thought
you
it was
go.
going to be number one.
I thought, yeah, because I'm a fanboy.
Oh,
so
yeah.
not on the
And
objective level.
As far as X-Men movies go, I think it's probably one of the best, if not the best.
It's my third
I think-
favourite.
Really?
Oh, I
yeah.
think it's the
Behind
best
X2 and
X-Men.
First Class.
Yeah.
I have too
Yeah.
many problems with First Class.
I know you do.
That's my
But you like X2, right?
I love
Yeah,
X2.
good.
I really love X2. What else? Paddington. I'm
Yeah.
surprised.
So
it
I'm
made it
so
into the
surprised.
top 10.
It's so
I
cute.
really,
It's
really
so
liked it,
cute.
and it is really cute. But I don't
Yeah.
know if I put it in a top 10.
And I have no attachment to.
Yeah,
I've never-
you never even saw the character when you were
No.
young.
So not like when you reached for the marmalade, you didn't like have a single tear of childhood.
I did, but for a childhood that I didn't even have.
Oh,
That's how effective it is.
That just makes it sound like you just didn't have a child.
You were abused as a kid. It's all coming out now.
The Wolf of Wall Street,
Yeah.
because I really like Scorsese, and it felt like a proper Scorsese
Yeah,
film.
it was really,
It was very
really
Scorsese.
possibly one of the funnest films he's ever made. as
It was
well.
Yeah.
definitely a fun film.
And it was really
but,
kind
yeah.
of big and grand and sort of a very bold film.
And it's arguing. I mean, I understand why it didn't win the Oscar.
Yeah, oh yeah, I do.
But Leo DiCaprio, I think that's the best he's been.
Yeah.
Ever.
And then
Alongside Django, maybe.
The Raid 2,
Oh,
because
Django, Django.
The Raid 2 was stunning.
Yeah.
I don't need to justify The Raid 2.
You don't need to justify the rate too.
And Guardians, I also think is fun.
You don't need to justify that either. All right. I guess my 10. Start with 10. Snowpiercer, which I know is a
I'm
bit
jealous,
of an iffy
I
one.
want to see that.
Yeah, it's a bit of an iffy one because it hasn't been hasn't had a decent release here, but it's
out. Anyone could watch it.
Yeah, it's out there somewhere. You can find it. The Lego Movie.
Honourable mention on
Ooh, I
mine.
forgot about that.
That's my honourable mention.
Locke, Tom Hardy in Locke.
Very good.
The Raid 2 again, and a film that technically doesn't come out here till January, but I saw it at London Film Festival. Whiplash.
I'm very excited to see
Number 6,
Whiplash.
which
Yeah,
is I feel bad
it's
putting it
just-
at number 6 because it is such an incredibly well made film.
There's
And
so
it's-
many things that I felt bad for just excluding.
Like
in the
it's
first place,
one of the
so-
few films I would call perfect. Like
Yeah.
actually, there's probably one thing that I don't like so much about it, but I won't
I
spoil
can't,
it.
no,
because
okay, it's a spoiler thing.
Yeah,
Without
it is-
kind
it
of
is a
spoilers,
spoiler.
the
It's
main
in
thing
the trailer,
I've read in
but-
all the reviews is just that they're saying like it's one of the best third acts of a film.
Yes.
Like yeah,
The
and I'm
finale
really excited
is
just to.
the finale. It kind of like takes on this whole persona of being kind of a musical, but an instrumental musical. And there's all these kind of dramatic crescendos, but they keep building on top of each other. So like things will happen. You think, wow, that's crazy. How the hell are they going to top that? And somehow they like double it. And by the end, it's 10 minutes. I'm pretty sure I could have held my breath for the whole 10 minutes. It's. I mean, I wasn't expecting to love it nearly as much as I did. So.
Actually, I don't even know who the director is for that. Like if
Damien Chazelle. He hasn't. It's his directorial debut.
Oh
actually,
wow!
yeah.
So he's definitely like on
He's
a good
written
roll
a
then.
few films. I don't know. Did you guys see Grand Piano this year as well?
No.
Oh
With
no!
Elijah Wood in it.
Oh no! He
wrote-
actually directed that as well.
He
didn't
wrote that. He didn't direct it. He wrote it, which seems strange because it's such a different film. It's basically like one of these kind of
About
crummy
music.
Yeah, it's like a
Yes,
crummy
yeah, it's very
DVD,
musical,
like
obviously.
straight to DVD action movie with John
Yeah.
Cusack in it. A bit Hitchcockian, but
Mm.
but yeah, he wrote that, and that's a lot good. He writes. I think everything he's written has been involved with music in some way. So
Was that your whole list? I can't remember what you got to.
yeah, that
Yeah,
was my
that's
number
number
6.
six.
So should we?
Are there any
dive-
others you want to talk about? No. Before we
I
move on?
kind of want to mention Snowpiercer just because it's. I mean, it got so much acclaim when it came out in America, and there was that big thing about Harvey Weinstein wanting to cut it down, but I can assure that it makes perfect sense.
Okay.
There's nothing even slight. I mean, I get why, because he wants to go for the lowest common denominator. Like, but there's so much like great stuff that he would have cut out. As an action movie, it's incredible. As a science fiction movie, it's incredible. I mean, the acting is kind of a little bit. I mean, it's intense. It's a little bit toned down, but the action kind of takes over. I mean, I watched this with one of my friends, and he found this really weird. Like,
Is it made by the guy who made The Host?
yes,
I like The
Yeah,
Host.
yeah.
yes, the Korean guy who made the host, and there are a few
Not the American
strange-
one.
No. I don't
the
like
Korean
that
monster
host.
movie. Yeah. But there are a few scenes in it which are a little bit strange. Like there's a part. Like, the whole idea of it is that like life is now living on this train because it's a dystopian world where everything outside has become frozen, and kind of Chris Evans leads this. Like the lower class live at the back of the train, and the kind of upper class live at the front. And Chris Evans leads like a peasants' revolt and tries to take back the front of the train. And they kind of go like carriage to carriage. And there is literally a bit where a carriage door opens and there's a bunch of guys standing there in balaclavas, and one of them takes an axe and just cuts a giant fish down the middle.
Just because.
Don't know why, but it happens. And I mean, stuff like that happens every now and again. But for the most part, it's incredibly surprising. There's loads of twists, and it's.
When you see like they're going through carriage to carriage, is that kind of like the
The Raid. Like the.
I was going to say like the
Bible.
Die Hard like Dread kind of thing where it's like
Similar.
they're making
It-
progress.
that-
that's
the Raid is
that's
like
special.
floor
Oh
by
yeah,
floor
sorry, I
of the-
completely forgot
Yeah,
about that.
that's especially
I
the
thought you meant Raid
first
2.
half.
I was thinking-
The first half is very much like that, but as it goes on, as more gets revealed and the characters
okay.
kind of come into their own a bit more,
It's good that they can branch off from the basic
Yeah.
structure. Yeah.
It's an incredible film. So I hope it gets released because it needs to be seen by more people.
Number 5, Gone Girl.
Yep.
4, Interstellar, which I didn't think would be that high.
Yep.
3, Boyhood. 2, Under the Skin, and 1, Her. So
Quite a lot of
Quite
those are in my
divided.
phone as well.
But I feel like I'm going to end up arguing with some of you people, especially
Which,
with
which, which ones do you argue with?
What's wrong
Her.
with her?
Her
I
is
was-
one of the few films that I can look at and I think it's perfect.
Yeah,
Which-
me too actually.
I just watched
seen
it
it.
and felt really cold and indifferent to what happened to any of them, and I didn't like the characters.
You
And
have no emotions.
I do have emotions though.
Speaking of the
because-
RoboCop,
But I didn't care, and I thought the use of the music was really like, ooh, we're hip. fucking cool.
That's who Spike Jones
The
is.
music.
though.
I was thinking about the music the other day, and I want to write an essay just on the music in the film because it's so like.
Hip.
If you
It's so
no,
hip.
if you read in like if you listen to it properly, it's so clever how they do some of the score. Just it's so clever.
It's so
The whole
intuitive
film
as well. It
is-
feels like it's an out and out romance movie put into a kind of sci-fi.
Yeah.
utopian-
I did like it.
context.
I just don't
Yeah.
think it's. I think it's overrated. I did like it. Don't hit me.
I'm not gonna hit.
I
you.
I thought it was really
Mm.
hipstery, and I don't get along with hipstery
I know.
stuff.
There are so many parts of this film though that are just so. It's one of the few films that, especially this year, that I'd call beautiful.
Yeah,
I don't really.
It looked nice.
Yeah, I
I
don't
agree.
like using that term to
but it's
describe
beautiful
films,
in all
but-
senses of the word.
Yeah,
I suppose,
in the fact
It's
that
beautiful visually.
It's visually beautiful.
The other things.
like auditory, it's beautiful through the sound, and it's beautiful in terms of it's just so intuitive in terms of romance and
Yeah.
relationships
Mm.
and love.
I think I have a problem with sort of romance films that are about problems that aren't real problems. They're problems that people who have no real problems have. So they make
you
up
saying
for-
romance isn't a real
no,
problem.
No. But the problems that people have in things like Her are problems that people who don't have real problems, who have time to make problems of things that aren't problems have. These aren't proper relationship problems. Deal with your shit.
So you don't like it because they're not dealing with murder or poverty. Or
Well,
they're just dealing with their
they
relationship.
are bigger issues, but I mean that sometimes I'm not saying I'm not looking particularly in say Her, but there are some of these like films that you like that are relationship films where
Films that you like.
like
All
you
my favourite films are relationships.
No,
It
but it's
makes
not.
me sound
It's,
like
no, but it's not. The problem isn't that I don't like love stories or anything. I just don't like. There's this sort of modern thing. It's like from the last 5 years there are films about relationships where people are complaining that relationships aren't like fairy tales, but their problems are just problems that you just deal with them. They're not problems. They're just everyday things. Except that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
See, but I'm thinking that with Her, and I don't see how it's like they're blown out of proportion because
Yeah,
they're just
I
like
thought it was quite real.
yeah.
Not. Well, if you think that's real, you have problems.
Examples from Her. Examples from Her. I want examples from Her, Harris.
No, it's not my.
Of one of
Burden of
these
proof
little
is not me.
problems.
You
But-
prove that it is real, and I will retort.
Because just about the whole thing with like, although they take a computer, which is the unrealistic.
my problem.
not
No,
unrealistic,
that's not the
maybe,
problem though.
But
That's not the.
and because they're just
I
using
can
this
accept
whole
that.
great plot of the thing to bring down to what happens when you're in a relationship, but you're slowly disconnecting
Why are you disconnecting?
because you're just growing apart.
Why?
She's growing, and she's literally like they say throughout
That's
the entire
her-
film, she's evolving, which people do as well.
Mm.
And it's just how they're
I
growing
don't know.
from.
I just
they grow
think
to love
people
each
should
other, and then they grow
Love
apart.
each other and then stay with each other forever, and
But the fact
regardless of whether they drift
it's-
apart,
that is
just
kind
stay.
of-
So Harrison
Just-
hates the film because of denial.
It's
Yeah.
played alongside his divorce as well, though. That's a
Yeah,
key.
yeah,
part.
See,
exactly.
that's
And so-
part. Of, like, see, he's
and
getting
it's talking
divorced. You
about
just
how-
can't. You can't man up and just.
Okay, can we move on? Because I feel like I'm going
I have to.
start,
I feel like I have to defend it because it's
start
yeah,
setting,
second
things,
favorite
setting
film.
people on fire.
Yeah, you have none your top five.
Yeah, what's your top?
No, what else did you have in yours? I can't remember.
It
Boyhood
was-
was in there, wasn't
Boyhood was in there just because
it? Which I
I
feel
thought
like
you didn't like Boyhood. Though.
I thought I didn't like it, and then I watched it a second time,
it's
Yeah.
one of
and
those
it's
films I really
stuck
admire.
in my head.
I admire
it's-
it, but I don't think.
And I was thinking
like
about it, and
I
I,
love
read some more reviews online, and they're just people keep saying about what relates to them, and it's amazing how it's this one film that just follows one boy in Texas's like childhood, and it relates to so many different
Yeah.
people. I
Mhm.
mean, even people that weren't born in that generation, even it just. And then it also like people complain that like the second half of the film gets boring and things like that, but it's important parts in his life,
Yeah.
which I thought was quite interesting.
I
just
thought
because
it kind of it cut to another time zone before it ever did get boring. So I think
I didn't find it got boring,
Yeah,
but the
I
critics
think-
said it. got
Yeah, a
boring.
lot of the time people were kind of picking on it because not a lot happened. It's literally just a
Yeah,
kid
but
growing
it's-
up.
Do you
But
think
it was
I
realistic.
found that quite fascinating.
Yeah.
Do you guys think it will be best film?
I don't know.
It's a
if it'll-
contender
yeah.
just because I didn't think it was going to be that critically acclaimed, but then all like you said, Empire, Sight and Sound, they're all
Mhm.
coming up number one,
Yeah.
and so maybe it may.
I don't
have a
think it
chance.
should win best.
I don't think it
Picture,
should, just
but-
because
Well, you don't because you have films
Well,
higher.
Mm.
I pick it not because it's a brilliantly made film, but just because it's what it's saying. I think.
Yeah.
Mm. That's fair enough.
I feel like I have now set myself
Because
as
the
a
acting
target
is
Let's
for
go
my
into your
five.
five.
You're shit five.
No, we're not going
Oh,
to target
shit,
you.
Yeah.
Unless they're
Number Yeah, my first two then might actually.
No.
Number 5, The Guest.
No.
Number 4, American Hustle.
No.
Number 3, Gone Girl. Number 2, How to Train Your Dragon 2. And number 1,
Wait,
Dawn of the...
How to Train Your Dragon went up one.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And number 1, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
I don't have a problem with any of them.
Apart from-
You. But American Hustle is not a good film.
It is a good film.
It's got some good
It's a
characters,
good film.
but I think this stems down to the fact that I do not.
It's a good
get-
character, it's not a good
I don't
plot.
get David O. Russell.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't
I agree
understand
with
why.
you.
Like I saw Silver Linings Playbook and I was like, that was a cute rom-com.
Yeah.
I did not understand where all the Oscar buzz came from.
From it being good.
I could just
I
about
don't-
understand the fighter, but it's just another underdog.
I don't see how she got Best Actress for that.
No,
Just
she
because-
Jennifer Lawrence is the best thing about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I don't think it's an Oscar movie, and I feel like it's only an Oscar movie because David O. Russell's put his thumb all over it and gone, look, it's an Oscar movie. I don't understand him as a person.
I think it's very funny and
Just,
and
that's
and
the
I
thing.
really like
I
it.
couldn't tell if it's trying to be a comedy
It
or
was.
a crime movie, or I
Can I
didn't
also
really
do
get what
my,
was going on with the plot either.
My honourable mentions. Well, that's you not understanding it. That's a different thing to the film.
You just don't get it, guys.
You just told me I didn't get love.
Yeah.
You just accused me of being in denial. Also, as honourable mentions, I have Interstellar because I felt bad that I wasn't in there. Nightcrawler, the Lego Movie.
Nightcrawler just completely vanished
I
from the
know,
list.
I know.
in
It
the
was
last couple
high,
of days, yeah.
and one that's more of two that are more of subjective things that probably shouldn't be in there, but I just really like
Yeah.
them. Are Godzilla and Mockingjay Part 1 because I really like them, but I understand they should not.
I don't
be
have
in
any
the top 10.
problems with Godzilla. I just think
Thank
it could have been
Yeah.
better.
Thank you for not having problems with it. Thank you for not being. He's not enough. Especially the one that Bryan Cranston's not. I paid for Bryan Cranston. Well, why? Why did you pay
I
for
thought it
Bryan
was quite
Cranston?
interesting that they killed him off. Like,
I did too.
So early.
Like,
spoilers.
We have to cut that. We have to cut that.
Because I was half okay. Now we're in spoiler territory anyway. But I was half expecting like to go to the hospital and he's like, "Oh, it's okay. He'll recover."
Yeah.
It's not. Nope. There's the body bag.
The thing, like Gareth Edwards talked about, they wrote the script not with Bryan Cranston in mind. He was a character that just was going to
Exactly.
die. And so as soon as he became Bryan Cranston,
I think
it's like, oh, are they supposed to
I
now
think-
force him into the
I
rest of
think
the film?
people got
No,
more
that makes
annoyed with it
sense.
because A, they've seen too much Breaking Bad.
Yeah, they've seen too much.
And
No, it's just
B,
that.
No, and his character, I don't know if it's because he's a better actor or what, his character just had more personality.
I think it's because he got to
Aaron-
shout and
Yeah,
yell.
Johnson
Aaron
is
Johnson's
bland.
lead is so bland.
Everyone's bland in it. Though.
I know, and
Except
Elizabeth
for-
Olsen isn't in it enough.
Ken Watanabe's quite funny because he just
Yeah.
spends the whole film going,
God, you are.
"Oh, not me this time." Yeah.
They did pick him because he had the accent
Yeah.
to say it.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds mean. But
Some films he's Chinese, some films he's Japanese. It's very obvious that he's one or the other.
But Gone Girl would have been higher if it wasn't for the fact that Neil Patrick Harris took me out of it because I felt like he'd walked in from another film.
Tyler Perry was very.
Tyler Perry maybe should knock it up a couple of
I
spots.
feel like it needs
Yeah.
a silent clap.
I feel like David Fincher deserves a Best Director award for making Tyler Perry good. That's a talent. I challenge any other director to do that.
So anyway, on with the 5. Number 5, Gone Girl, which
Yep.
we've already talked about. 4, Under the Skin, which we have to mention in there because it's both on our list. 3 is a film called The Voices with Ryan Reynolds in it, which I saw
see,
at Sundance London.
I've never even heard. Of it.
Yeah, I feel like I need to
I've
talk
only
about
heard
it.
of it because of him.
People need to hear about it. 2 is Her. Sorry. And
Said
1
mine.
is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Because it.
But
Why isn't The Guest in more people's top 10s?
The Guest I liked. I really liked The Guest.
Yeah.
It's in my top 20 probably, but I just like going to The Voices quickly because I feel like I have to
Yeah, I
explain
just want to
it.
hear like about
It's
it. Just
it's directed by the woman that made Persepolis, which
Yeah.
is a French animated film, which it got a lot of
Oh,
Oscar
actually,
buzz
no, I do know
a few
that,
years
yeah.
ago. Yeah, and it's about Ryan Reynolds plays a guy with schizophrenia who
Okay.
basically lusts after Gemma Arterton and accidentally murders her, and keeps her decapitated head in his fridge. And because he's got schizophrenia,
it's a classic Ryan Reynolds.
yeah,
film.
but it's told entirely from his point of view. So you kind of, because it's through his schizophrenia, everything is all kind of nice and happy, and her head isn't decaying, it talks to him, and his pets talk to him, hence the voices. And it slowly kind of, Anna Kendrick's in it as well, it slowly kind of descends into this really, really, really dark comedy. But kind of it has these flips every now and again where you'll see things through other people's points of view, and everything's very, very different. It plays with the whole idea of perspective really, really well.
That's
And
quite-
it's incredible. I mean, it's really ballsy and weird, but Ryan Reynolds is incredible in it. Like, incredible.
You have her on there. I want
have
to
her
use
on
this opportunity to put a disclaimer out there that I do think that people who are in relationships can have problems. That is not what I'm saying.
I just
you
don't.
You can't pull yourself out of that grave you've
I
dug.
just feel like people should maybe be able to deal with them a bit better. That's all.
What you're basically saying is, oh, you have emotional problems. Be more like me.
Talk about the others. Why is Guardians come
Guardians. We've already talked a lot about Guardians, but it's so
It's
fun.
just a fun.
And it's just, I feel like I adore Marvel, I adore science fiction, I adore James Gunn, and this is just the combination of everything I love.
So if you adored Marvel, no Captain America 2. Were you
Yeah, Captain
disappointed by
America
that,
2 I
like
was a
Harrison?
little bit disappointed with.
Yeah,
I felt
I
like,
think we've talked about Captain America 2. I think we have the exact
Yeah,
same.
although
It sounds
It's a
like
big
we have the
improvement
same.
over the first one.
I
We
liked
don't-
the first one
Oh.
more.
We like the first one. We
But-
like the charm of the
Can't
sword.
stand
Yeah,
first one.
but I
Can't
understand
stand
what
it.
Winter Soldier was trying to do.
Mm.
I love how ballsy it was with the massive
The
plot
actions were
development
good. Yeah.
with Hydra and everything. The action sequences were very good. The performances were very good. I love how they used Black Widow. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I feel like, to be honest, I feel like I've given it more of stick just because it's the worst of the Phase 2 films so far.
I agree with
I
you.
feel like it's nowhere
And I know
near,
you agree.
even in the same league as Iron Man 3 or
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
See, I didn't like Iron Man 3. I just don't like. To be fair,
so-
I just don't like Thor or Captain America. It's like
I think my problem with Captain America 2 was that I wished it either committed more to its idea of
the
being a
Winter
conspiracy theory,
Yeah.
conspiracy thriller, or committed more to being just an action movie. But it felt like it was trying to be clever, but it wasn't
And
really
as a
that
result,
clever.
the Winter Soldier's barely in it.
Yeah, that
It
annoyed
kind
me
of
too.
like it jumps over it so much to the point where I mean I
I
know
just felt
this
like there's
isn't
an
the
awkward
same,
middle ground.
Yeah, this isn't the same for a lot of people,
I know.
but-
I know we're wrong.
but the kind of emotional climax did nothing for me.
Me too.
I did not buy into Sebastian Stan as the Winter Soldier or him as a friend of Cap at all. I felt
I
it
feel
was
like
kind of a
the
bit,
problem with those Marvel films is that I don't care about. Well, the heroes are just very bland because they're just very do good.
Who? Which
Captain America, Thor,
Okay.
and then also at the same time, I feel like Marvel villains are just.
Oh, Marvel
they're just-
villains are generally
just
bad.
weak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're weak. That's it. They're not bad. They're not terrible. They are really.
And
weak.
then also with the Thor thing, they have Loki, which
Ronan.
is the best Marvel villain, Loki.
Yeah.
But now they're
Trevor.
overusing him. Like
Trevor.
they're just shoving him in
I love
every
Trevor.
Trevor.
Trevor Slattery.
Trevor's
I
good.
feel like we have to say something about Under the Skin
Uh,
as well.
It's Ben Kingsley.
Oh, okay.
We should
Oh,
say
yeah,
something
sorry,
about
we-
Under the Skin.
I liked Under the Skin. Yeah, I was knew I was gonna like it from when I first saw the first trailer.
That's the thing. I kind of, when I went in for the first time, I felt I was gonna kind of, it was gonna be like what we were mentioning earlier about Boyhood. I was gonna be a bit
Oh, yeah.
kind of overly critical because I knew so many critics loved it and adored it. I was kind of like, it would be one of those odd art films that I don't quite understand. And viewing it as an art film, there was quite a lot of kind of abstract stuff. I was like, really? This is a bit odd. But when I saw it for a second time, I tried to watch it as a science fiction film instead. And I enjoyed it so much more.
Yeah, it works better as a science
I
fiction
think it's so... Scarlett Johansson is incredible in it.
film. Yeah.
Not just because she gets naked, but because she's just a really incredible actress. And
And
she deals with all the problems of it so
Yeah.
well.
And you know how they did like the picking up people, like they filmed.
They
those
filmed it
scenes
for
at-
real.
it's like, have you watched
Yeah.
the behind the scenes as well?
No, I haven't.
It's really interesting. Like they go and like how they built the van and everything like that, and it's just there's cameras everywhere inside that van, and it's all just filmed live.
And the imagery is incredible. Because, I mean, the first time you see it is a bit abstract, but when you start to piece it, when you know how it ends, and you can go back and start piecing things together, it makes so much more sense. And it's a lot more kind of, it's so imaginary and so... And there are some bits in it which I found legitimately terrifying, and some bits
Oh, yeah.
I found legitimately depressing as well. Like the sequence with the baby on the beach.
Yeah,
Which one of the most
that was
heartbreaking
yeah, that
things
was-
I've ever seen. It's
And I wasn't expecting it to be an emotional film. I was expecting it to more be like a
Exactly.
thinking film. And then also
Exactly.
like the abstract imagery as well. Like you said, it's the kind of thing where you watch it the first time and you think, oh, it might be this thing. You watch it, and then when you understand the plot, it works quite well. For instance, the beginning sequence, like you watch it, and it looks like almost a planet going into eclipse. And then you realise, like, once you finish the film, that it's actually her eye being made.
Yeah.
So it's the pupil of her eye, like, and it's just really interesting.
and the music.
Yeah,
Probably my pick for best score of the year.
I really like the score
just
for that.
above Interstellar. It's because it's such a different score, but it's creepy as hell.
Yeah,
I
I
love
do. I put it on my iPod, but then like I'm walking through Southampton or something like that, and then it comes on, and I just like you start watching
Oh.
people on the street feeling like
It's
scared.
not the sort of film or score I'd ever want to watch or listen to on my own in a house on my own in the middle of the night. or something.
My score of the year is Michael Giacchino's The Apes.
There you go.
Oh, you right.
I like Michael Giacchino music. Although it would be How to Train Your Dragon 2 score if it wasn't for the fact that it's just How to Train Your Dragon 1 score changed a little.
There you go.
But that one was
Well, it's a
nominated for an Oscar.
franchise, so
That one was nominated for an Oscar, and it's a really good one. Just saying.
right. Right.
that's
I think
our
that's
top
the
10
roundup
for the
then.
year,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's all our top 10 then.
Thank you for
Great.
watching.
Yeah.
Sorry if Harrison offended you.
No! No!
Don't turn it off!